With Smooth 98.1 FM. Good morning and welcome to the Locker Room, the midweek edition. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning, Omatseye. I was trying to join everybody. Okay, hump of the week Wednesday. And what a beautiful Wednesday it is going to be. So what are we starting from today? We are starting from Ghana. So we'll talk about the Africa Games that's taking place in Ghana. Some of the sports have already started. In fact, they've played the final of the table tennis and the tournament starts on the 8th of March, but they've already played final and they have
Yes.
winners. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll also touch on the UEFA Champions League. Yesterday was a good day for Hurricane and Bayern Munich. So maybe the curse is not working or the curse is on pause, one of the two. And then we'll talk about the proverbial elephants. Are they
In the
going to make
room
it to the? Are they
or in
going
the
to make it
forest?
to the top of the tree? Or
Okay.
are they going to continue trying to climb? We'll talk about all of that and more today on the locker room. But before we do that, can you tell us how we can be a part of the locker room today?
To be part of the conversation inside Tega's locker room today, you need to give us a call on get us a WhatsApp message onto 0809 444 0981 will be where
You
we
can't
like
give
to read.
call now. We'll not even start show. So
No way.
let's just send
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp messages on
All right.
YouTube. Yeah.
0809 444 0981 will be where we get to read your messages. And of course, YouTube is really active and kicking. So go over to youtube.com, search for Smooth 981 FM Lagos, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave your comments there. We'll be sure to read them as the show progresses. That done, Tega, where do we go from here?
The headlines, please. The headlines.
On the bill this morning, African Games, 358 athletes to represent Nigeria in 25 sports, says the NOC, as Halep free to return after 4-year doping ban reduced to how many years or months? Tega will tell us. Bayern beat Lazio, not so much in a lousy fashion, to qualify for Champions League quarterfinals as Mbappe double fires PSG past Real Sociedad to Champions League quarters, as there is also Madrid not past Leipzig yet, warns coach Ancelotti, as Arsenal more mature than last season. Jorginho is the one talking. Champions League getting tougher, says Man City's Guardiola. Then there would be Sam Kerr. Chelsea striker pleads not guilty to racially aggravated offense and more you would find on the show this morning. Check out.
All right, let's start with what's happening in Ghana and the contingent that we are carrying.
Now, the Nigerian Olympic Committee, NOC, said that Nigeria would be represented by no fewer than 358 athletes in 25 sports at the 13th African Games.
This is the Africa Games taking place in Ghana, and so far, what has been coming out of the games have not been great news. From Kenyan athletes saying they're not going. So Nigeria is sending over 300. The Kenyan board wanted to send, the Kenyan Sports Commission wanted to send only one athlete per discipline. So that's why they are striking. That how can you send only one athlete per discipline when most of us have qualified, want to go for the Kenyan Games? So that's why they were striking that look, either you send the complete pool or we are not going to go. So there's that battle on the one hand. Then the All Africa Games, they've also fired the what is the sports commissioner in Accra in Ghana? They just fired him yesterday. Prior to that, there's been one trouble after the other. So they renovated the hostels. They are university hostels, so it wasn't like they built new hostels or did anything. They just bought some new mattresses here and there, added um, hot water to the shower, repaired some few wardrobes. They arrived at $16 million spent. So
Hmm.
it's like they remember that the World Cup they spent $80 million. to go to the World Cup and crash out in the group stage with just 2 points. So there's been all that drama. It seems as if sports is like the bottomless pit in Ghana. So once you throw in money there, it just disappears down a hole, and everything is inflated. So there was that drama going on with the All Africa Games, whether the place will be prepared, this, that, the other, and then there was $60 million just to renovate hostels that were already, in fact, let me even tell you how well it was. That hostel on a normal day used to house 4 people.
Okay. Yeah. Tega.
Sorry, that hostel used to house 4 people per room. Now, because of the All Africa Games, they've been reduced to 2 people per room. And you're not telling me that it's $60 million that you used to reduce from 4 to 2 people per room. It's crazy. So he's just been fired. So there's all the drama going on, and then the All Africa Games is taking place. So it's a lot, but the good news is beginning to come in, especially for Egypt. They've already won in the male and female category. They've already had a double, taking gold there. Nigeria came close. Aruna Quadri came close, made it to the semifinals. Unfortunately, an Egyptian knocked him out again. So, so top one. But so far, table tennis was already started. I think Edemofiong has won 1 medal already. She won the bronze medal, but I can't remember in what discipline. So let's see how it goes from there. Table tennis has started. Hopefully, we will get a lot of medals in athletics, because I mean, this is an African competition. It's not like the World Championships. So hopefully, Nigeria can get one medal. I know Kenya is good, and they're coming good in the sprint. I know Ivory Coast is coming good in the sprint, but Nigeria still has, some weight when it comes to the sprint and the track and field, and they're sending 50 people for track, for athletics. So let's just see if we can, at least from those 50 people, we can get some medals. Yeah, so good to know.
When you mention Quadri, I just recall that if eventually he leaves the stage, his son is already, I think his son is already
his son and his daughter.
Oh, see, okay.
It's a family business.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go now to the next one, where Harry Kane scored a goal in each half of Bayern Munich, beating Lazio 3-0 on Tuesday to reach the Champions League
quarterfinal. Why did we skip Simona Halep? That's an interesting something.
Yeah. How did we skip that? All right, let's touch base with Simona Halep, because this is a breaking one also and very important. Former Wimbledon and French Open champion Simona Halep had 4-year doping ban cut to 9 months by the top court for a global sport on Tuesday, making the former world #1 eligible to return to the competition immediately.
So I told you about this drama with Simona Halep, and I just thought that they were a little harsh with it. And I've seen that sometimes tennis can be harsh on the people that they do not like, or they do not really consider. Because I remember how they pampered Maria.
I was going to take that off your seal. I knew this story would come up.
I wanted to say Dupapova, but let me just say Sharapova. Okay. But I remember her story. They now gave her. They didn't even give her ring lights. They gave her a room full of press. Allowed her to wear her nice clothes. Came out to defend herself for meldonium that she took and had been taking. So with Sharapova's case, they found that her samples contain banned substances. Now, no, first of all, they found that her passport, her biological passport, had a change. Now, let me remind you, biological passport is basically, as an athlete, you would have been dropping samples from when you started your career till your current state. Now, they know exactly what is what when it comes to your samples. Should sometime later in your career and your life, something becomes more than it should, that's your biological passport changing. So they may not actually see a substance in your sample, but once they notice that maybe some hormone in your body or some substance in your body that should be naturally occurring anyway has increased more than it usually was. It's a change in the blood passport. So on for just a change in your blood passport, you can be suspended because they don't have to catch a substance. They just know that something has happened. So first of all, they found that spike in her blood passport, and then later found that her substance was contaminated. Turns out that according to her, she'd been taking a particular nutrition, a particular, you know how they added vitamin, and it turns out that that particular vitamin that she got, that batch was now tainted with something. So she's also suing the company that supplied that particular batch. And that thing also happened when she switched coach. So she was questioning her new team because she was like, she'd never been caught doping before. Why is her sample now tainted? So she also found out that it was from that particular vitamin, and then she sued the company. But when this thing happened, they did not even give her the opportunity. She was trying to get a hearing. They kept shifting the hearing. That's how, when you're caught the sample, they'll give you a hearing maybe within the month. Her own was going to 4 months, 5 months. She was just like, can I have an opportunity to defend myself? It's everywhere that I've doped. Meanwhile, I've not been given a fair chance at hearing. So even the delay to when her case was heard was enough suspension. Then when her case was finally heard, the way they dismissed her, um, it just reeked of unfairness and injustice. To me, I'm not saying, yes, you found that her sample was tainted. Yes, she admitted that that sample had been tainted. But the way they handled it up to that case, it was like, we don't want you to even play this our tennis again. Come and be going. Thank you
Oh,
very much.
tennis in quotes. Oh, I see.
Our tennis in quote, so come and be going. So I just felt it was unfair, the
Okay.
build up to her hearing. And then when the hearing came and they gave her a 4-year suspension, I was just like, what's happening here? So I like the fact that she pushed and went to CAS. And then CAS was like, unlike the tennis body that came out and said, we don't believe your story that the sample was tainted. Even if you've been clean all your career from when you were 15 till when you are in your 30s. You've been clean all that while, but this one, we don't believe you were clean. I was just like, how about benefit of doubt? There was one particular case, I can't remember the tennis girl. She said that that the banned substance got into her system because she was cooking meat on the same place she was keeping her mother's cancer drugs. And I was like, why would you put your mother's cancer drugs on the table? Why would and then they believed her story. They believed that ridiculous story. But you couldn't believe Simona Halep's own that, this sample, even when she was suing, the company that produced sample. So I'm not saying that I thought she was the most honest person. I'm not sure I thought she was the most honest person. I just thought that they were not, at every turn, they were not giving her a chance to defend herself. So it seemed unfair. So CAS came, the Court of Arbitration for Sports came, and they believed her story. They're like, why can't you believe that her samples could have been tainted? Do you have any proof to show that her samples were not tainted? No. Then why don't you believe her? And then they're like, because of the unfair amount of time it took just to hear the case and all of that, she has already served suspension before the suspension came. So they said, first of all, they reduced her sentence to 9 months because they believed her. That was for the believing of the sample story, of the tainted nutrient story. And after they reduced that to 9 months, they now backdated it. Yes, they backdated her suspension to all the time she served before they ever heard her case. So now she can enter the court tomorrow.
Okay.
That's how quickly she will enter the court. So I am sure they are fuming down at the Tennis Association. But I felt I'm not saying I support her, I'm not saying I believe her. I'm just saying that the fact that they didn't even give her the opportunity to defend herself, it was just unfair and unjust. So yes, let her play tennis. If she wants to play in Indian Wells that is starting today, let her play.
All right, Tega, we like to read your reactions relating to all of the stories and more, and that will be coming to 0809 444 0981. Would also expect to read your messages on youtube.com/smooth91FM Lagos. I will let Hurricane stay by the sideline while we cool off, and when we come on the other side, Hurricane will take the center stage.
That's what quality cornflakes are so full of nourishing goodness because they are whole flaked cornflakes. Cornflakes are made by a natural flaking process that retains all the natural goodness of whole corn.
Tega, is there anything you want to add or something? I can hear you if you speak now.
No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. No messages. They're still waiting. They are waiting for the other stories to put a kick in.
Okay, so let's just come back with the hurricane and go.
Okay.
Your thunder like that. This one that has so many haters, many. But the last time I checked, there was only one, you. So I'm gonna need you to take that down and put it here at my Kelly, because you won't be needing that. Now go show the world the things that make you you. And later you meet up with me, Sharon Oda, and the girls online, chasing wins one loss at a time in Flossom Season 2. Sign up now and watch it on Showmax.com.
This is smooth breakfast on your dial, just the way you like it. Satisfaction guaranteed.
It is still the locker room on Smooth 98.1 FM. We're back and still picking up the story. Tega still here as we go over to Hurricane in the center stage. Hurricane scored a goal in each half as Bayern Munich beat Lazio 3-0 on Tuesday to reach the Champions League quarterfinals on aggregate of 3-1.
Yeah, good game by Bayern Munich. Good game executed by them, even if they started the game a little nervously. You recall that they were not in a winning position building up, coming up into this game. And over the weekend, Leverkusen had opened a 10-point gap in the Bundesliga. So they were not in a right frame of mind. They didn't even feel like a winning frame of mind, which is what you'd expect from Bayern Munich, especially the fact that they were playing at home. So when the match started, they looked a little nervous. In fact, for the first 10 to 15 minutes, Bayern Munich had dominated possession, but the good chances or the best of chances came from Lazio. So it was looking like Bayern Munich were about to crash out of the Champions League unceremoniously. And considering the fact that they decided not to fire their coach, they are going to give him an extension and he's going to leave at the end of the season. It was always going to be a tough one because I don't know how Leverkusen would lose as many games for Bayern Munich to catch up. That's the first thing because Leverkusen are in a hot streak. And then Bayern Munich dropping out of the Champions League would have just been all over for them because their only hope right now is making a deep run in the Champions League. Their only hope of salvaging a good season. So it was a tough one. First 10 to 15 minutes, no goals, no clear-cut chances. A few questionable shots by Leroy Sané. Again, I will say it. I don't know what people see in Leroy Sané. I haven't seen it till today. And I have looked, I've looked with natural eye. I've looked with glasses. I've looked with microscope. It's not there. That thing people say is there. It's not there. But for some reason, people
he's not the who he says he is. That's all what
he's not the one.
Who they say he is.
Yes, we are waiting for another. He's not the one. so a few wild shots by him, even in good position. One was saved by the goalkeeper, but the remaining was just wildly hit. And not a very good display. But then Thomas Müller, the guy that I mean, when you see Thomas Müller or when you watch him play, you don't see that magic, you don't see that X factor. His X factor is that he's effective, he will deliver. And so he's on the pitch and he has the DNA of a German machine and he comes in and takes a strike. And then Hurricane scores from the rebound. Not the most brilliant of shots you'll see Hurricane scores, but the minute the ball hits the back of the net, Bayern Munich kind of settles down. They're like, okay, we got this. Now that we've pulled level, we got this. And from then on out, I won't say it was easy peasy, but it was a smooth run. And so Bayern Munich were able to survive this. Thomas Müller scored, and then Harry Kane scored the second goal. They were able to survive this and get to the next round. But I would still say they are not convincing. They are not convincing, and especially the fact that in the Bundesliga, Bayern Leverkusen has raised their standard. So I was listening to some stats yesterday, and I heard that Bayern Munich have scored 2 more points in the Bundesliga this season than they did last season. And they won the Bundesliga last season. The difference is that they've scored 2 more points, so they have improved according to statistics. Yes. But they are still driving in gear 2 when Leverkusen has gone. So it's no longer about them. It's about the fact that, yes, they are doing good, but their rivals are doing way better. And it's the same thing with Manchester City in the Premier League. Manchester City have scored a few points better than they were this time last season. But it's just that the competition around them have improved. And so it's like the reward for winning is more improvement and more winning. That's the only way. You don't settle down after you've won. You have to work harder after you've won. That's how it works.
Now, let's go over to PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. Kylian Mbappe literally fired Paris Saint-Germain into the Champions League quarterfinals with a brace and a 2-1 win at Real Sociedad on Tuesday. Each team cruising through on a 4-1 aggregate. And it's still leaving is it still leaving at the end of season?
That one is almost guaranteed. But we don't know. Again, maybe they've offered him an island and he will decide to stay back. But so far so good. Brilliant goals by Kylian Mbappe. You see, the thing with Kylian Mbappe is that you cannot question, his talent. It's clear for everybody to see that this kid is special. 34 goals so far. Yesterday's goals were brilliant. The one that he took, the shot wide, and then the one that he beat the goalkeeper in the inner post. He's fantastic. His burst of pace is equally brilliant. And he will score you goals, and he will have a brilliant game, and he's that X factor that can switch things around for you. The problem with Kylian Mbappe is that I don't know anybody that he listens to. And the worst kind of person to build something around is someone that doesn't have anybody he's accountable to. And that's the problem with Kylian. It's not like he makes the best decisions off the pitch, but he's a brilliant footballer. But sometimes talent will not just be enough. And so that's where my worry with Kylian Mbappe is. But when it comes to football and when it comes to the pitch, he will get you goals. He will do the needful. And for some reason this season, PSG got good draws. From the group stage, it was a good draw. Round of 16 was an equally brilliant draw. I mean, they're playing Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad standard is Europa.
Yeah.
And so for them to still be in the Champions League right now, they've overachieved, if you ask me. So it was a good draw for PSG, and it showed in the result. The question is, when you look at all the real contenders, the Bayern Munich, the Manchester Cities, the Real Madrid, would you say that PSG can cut their teeth? The answer is no. So brilliant game yesterday. Brilliant results from this fixture, but going down the line, you don't fancy their chances to go all the way and win this one. But who knows? Even Chelsea were not fancy to win it when they won it in 2012, and alas. So let's see if they'll continue to get the luck of the draw.
Who knows what's going on with Real Madrid at this time, but let's stop by and see Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti has warned his players on Tuesday that their Champions League last 16 tie against RB Leipzig is not over after taking a slim first leg advantage.
Yes, remember how they took that lead. Leipzig didn't play too poorly, but Real Madrid finished their chances, and that's what big teams do. When it comes to the crunch time, big teams just know how to step up to get the goal. We saw it with Bayern Munich yesterday, and so it could be with Real Madrid today. So Real Madrid just has to go there and finish the job. And I agree with him. They have to go in with the mindset that there is a lot more left to do, and then try to completely defeat Leipzig at home. Because, the one goal is a good advantage, but there is no home and away goal advantage now. A goal is a goal. It's just one goal. And so they have to finish the job at RB Leipzig. And if you remember the weekend, how they went 2 goals down before they had to play catch up and equalize, it could be a very tricky one for them. But I do think they have the maturity and the wherewithal to finish this game.
Let's address the elephant in the locker room this morning. Jorginho believes free-scoring Arsenal are approaching the Premier League title race with more maturity than the previous thing you talked about now, than last season.
Everybody's talking about this maturity. Yeah, because Granit Xhaka was talking about them over the weekend. And, his team, like I said, his team has now gone 10 points clear at the top of the table. And he said his teammates kept asking him, so how did Arsenal bottle the league from this same position that we are in last season? And, he was just saying that there was a little bit of naivety here and there, not being able to close out games. And now Jorginho is saying that they're playing with a little bit of maturity. Be that as it may, they're still third on the table and 2 points behind Liverpool, who are at the top of the table, and 1 point behind Manchester City, who have won this Premier League consecutive times. So yes, it was a fantastic win on Monday, and an exceptionally good first half. They scored 5 goals in the first half against Sheffield United. So it was a good display, I would say. And yes, they may be more mature, but like I said, the problem is not necessarily about your improvement. It's always about your rivals' improvement. And so as mature as they are, Liverpool seem to be in a fantastic form right now. Like I said, they can bring kindergarten players from Liverpool and put on the pitch, and the result will still be victory. That's what happens when a team is in a winning form. Over the weekend, they managed to scrape out a result when Nottingham Forest thought that they could get something of them. So Liverpool are in a very good spot now. And despite the fact Arsenal defeated Liverpool, Liverpool have found a way to get their points from where they need to get their points, from matches that they need to get their points. So it may not come down to Arsenal's maturity. It may come down to Manchester City and Liverpool cancelling themselves starting this weekend. And so yes, yeah.
This maturity would not see them scrape out something from Porto. Do you see this?
We have to wait to see if the maturity he said they are more mature this season. He was talking about the Premier League. Maturity in the UEFA Champions League is a different level of maturity. So let's see. Let's talk about the Premier League, where they seem to be doing well. So it's important here. They may be more mature, but the fact is they are fighting against serial champions in Manchester City and historical champions, at least when it comes to winning trophies in Liverpool.
Still moving on, still there, and Man City comes in now. Pep Guardiola said Tuesday it's getting tougher to win the Champions League as he targets a second consecutive treble with all his conquering Manchester City team.
Well, especially for him, when you think about the last time he won the Champions League, and then he went to Bayern Munich, didn't win it, spent years and money in Manchester City, didn't win it until last season. So yes, I agree with him. It seems to be getting tougher to win the Champions League. But teams like Real Madrid, when they zero in, they zero in. It's not tough for them. It's like that trophy is in their wardrobe, and then they bring it out when it's time to win the Champions League. So I would agree with him. It can be a battle, but I would say this season they're still one of the favorites to win it, because even the other contenders have had their nervous moments. But Manchester City somehow seem to get, number one, the luck of the draw, and number two, they have great players that can execute even when they get tough teams. So they're still one of the contenders, yeah. All right, so let me just wrap up with Steve,
one woman waiting for you, Sam.
Yeah. So it appears that there was she's been charged with racially aggravated abuse of a police woman. She's going to have to come to court to defend that. Now, here's the thing. She claims, of course, she said that she's not guilty. But sometimes some people may be guilty of stuff that they don't know they're guilty of. And the woman reported that she came in to settle what was a taxi fare complaint. So apparently somebody took a taxi and a fight ensued, and she came in and she was now verbally assaulted by racially, verbally assaulted. So this is a racial thing. I remember racial abuse in the UK is now a crime. And so if she's found guilty, it's going to be tough on her. I don't want to say much on this. I wasn't there. I don't know every single detail. But I hope she's not found, because if she's found guilty, everything is gone. From her club football down to her home country. She's captain right now of the Australian side. She's a role model in Australia. If there's any racial abuse, it's done for her. It's just let's just say that. All right.
We can say Otilo right now, but let's quickly get Ibuku's message in for you from K2, and he says, Tega, you know that some countries allow the use of cannabis as a cancer treatment drug. So that's talking about the lady you referred to in that story may have thought it was thyme or rosemary, but they really did Simona dirty.
Ibuku, I will beat you. I even worse than the woman's lawyer.
And let me reach over to AY from Oniru. He says Mbappe is a world-class person, but the quality is very clear. Harry Kane was also sensational last night as well. That means Chris Cross's sensational should be on replay for them. And then let's go to Mohammed. He says, Tega, don't mind the elephants always making noise when they win. They will still drop points and will not win the league. In fact, they will go trophyless this season. I see a message. Let's go over to Abiodun Obisheson's message on YouTube. Says, Tega, leave that matter, Joe. We are so used to the Arsenal hypes at this time of the season. Mature fire. We all know EPL is down to Liverpool and Manchester City. The elephant trumpeters should rest jaw. Emphasis.
Now, wow. But I'm with you. I'm with you in secret, but I have to be objective here.
Yes. So, Tega.
On that note, I want to thank you all for sending your messages. Thank you all for tuning in to our YouTube channel and for tuning in to the Locker Room on Smooth 98.1 FM. So we'll come your way again on Friday.
Aspire to
Maguire.